Yeah, it's your boy Dwayne Brown. I'm here live at MBK, Mount Vernon High School conference where men mentor young kids, young boys, help raise them into older men, responsible men. So tonight's event is where men of the community go out in the community and give back to our youth. So tonight I'm going to talk to a lot of mentors in our community. We're going to work with our young community, get these young men ready to be men in our community. So check it out, Dwayne Brown, MBK 2017, Mount Vernon High School. Check us out. So we back, Mount Vernon High School. I mean, I told you I have so many great people that we're going to interview and talk to and really share our experience with the youth. But this couldn't be possible without our leader in the school district, Dr. Hamilton. So, Dr. Hamilton, welcome. How are you?
I'm awesome. Thank you. Thank you for being here.
So, Doc, tell me what this event means to you.
This is another opportunity for us to help make connections to our young men and provide examples to them about how to make better choices and decisions and how those choices and decisions impact their life goals and how to establish those life goals. The beauty of having men here who are committed to serving as mentors and young boys who are in need of a mentor really gives us the opportunity to close the gap between some of our young men who, absent that positive role model, would make the wrong kinds of choices.
I've seen you in the community. I've seen you at different events. I've seen you put on Mind, Body, and Soul. So you truly buy in and believe to the Mount Vernon community.
I am a youth believer in Mount Vernon. Some of the best kids, and I've worked in great places. I've had jobs in some wealthy communities, poor communities, large places, small places. But there's something really special about Mount Vernon. There's something special about this community. There's something special about our kids. And I think the more we invest in them, the greater our opportunities are for closing the opportunity gap, not the achievement gap, because that's a whole different subject. But I'm talking about the opportunity gap. And I think the time is right in Mount Vernon for us to be able to do that.
Tell our audience, how long you been superintendent so far?
I am in year 4.
Year 4. 4 great years. So we're going to, not a politician, but we say 4 more years, 4 more years, 4 more years. But no, all jokes aside, you work hard for our community. I grew up here. I went to this high school. So I know when people care. You can see when people care and you get it. So past alumni sitting in this cafeteria, I'm proud because I wish we had a My Brother's Keeper. But more importantly, I wish we had a superintendent that tried to give so many of us a chance, and that's important. So thank you.
My pleasure. I believe in these kids. I believe in their synergy in this community, and the negative things that you hear about Mount Vernon, they are all small, isolated instances. The vast majority of our kids are doing the right thing. They're on the right track. They're committed to making Mount Vernon a better place. And it's a lot bigger than just Mount Vernon. It's really about what we do for the state, what we do for our nation as we create great leaders and provide them with the kinds of backbone and formations and foundations that they need in order to grow up to be leaders.
We got to find a hashtag for Doc, like hashtag Doc is great, hashtag you're the best superintendent. We got to get you a hashtag, right? Would you agree? You need a hashtag. He need a hashtag ASAP. We're going to find one tonight, Mike. But Doc is doing a great job. December 9th, is it?
December 9th.
We have a show coming up.
Yes.
Talk about that a little bit.
A huge holiday event. This is our annual holiday concert where we provide, the admission is a gift or an item that can be donated for our needy families. This year we're making it a little bigger, and we're reaching out to those communities that were impacted by the hurricane during the hurricane season, because there are so many families who will not have their usual Christmas because of the devastation created by the hurricane. So we've got a great lineup. We will be debuting our all-city chorus and all-city band. So we have a huge children's representation in this event. We have Wendy Williams, who's going to be our celebrity guest reader, the Jenkins Brothers, Valerie Adams, and the Dimension Bands. I'm sure I'll come out with a song or something that I can do just to keep the momentum up, and people have come to expect that of me. But we're looking forward for it.
When I first heard him sing, the first show I came to, I was like, they said Doc is singing. I was like, oh boy, there's no other superintendent thing he can sing. And then I'm in the rafters making snow come down, and you get on the stage, and I'm like, oh man, he really can sing. So, but I knew that anyway because you sung national anthem plenty of times. But you really got talent, and that's what I think also, because sometimes when people in education, you only see ABC. With you, you see creativity along with ABC. You know what I mean? So you give two dimensions a chance to make it, and that's rare. So thank you for that, and look forward to more of this. We have Soup Scoop every Monday, 8 o'clock on Channel 6. If you live in Mount Vernon, that's on Spectrum, Channel 6. If you have Fios, I believe it's channel in the 30s, 31, 32. Keep on flowing. You'll get one of those channels. But check out Soup Scoop to find out what's going on in the district. We got a lot going on. Doc is doing a lot. Hey, good luck, and I'm sure I'll see you. MBK, my brother's keeper. So I'm with one of the organizers, my man Shane. Shane, what's up? How you doing, my guy? So Shane gonna tell you, I already told you his name, but Shane gonna tell you his little what he do, what this organization about. So Shane, what's up? Tell us about yourself, man.
Hey, what's up? We're here today. First of all, my name is Shane Brooks. Born and raised in Mount Vernon. Went through the school district. Went to Washington Elementary, which is now Thornton High School, A.B. Davis, and then graduated from Mount Vernon High School in 1998. So I went off to college, graduated from SUNY Buffalo in 2003. And then started a career in a nonprofit. I was in nonprofit for the past 13 years, serviced every other community but my own. I finally got a chance to come on board in the city government. I'm the special assistant to Mayor Richard Thomas, and my focus is on community development and partnership engagement. And right now, we're about to roll out our mentorship program under the Mount Vernon My Brother's Keeper initiative. As you know, our 44th president, Obama, put this initiative together to make sure young men of color, African American and Latino boys have a equal chance. It's all about equity. It's all about equity. And he just wanted to make sure that we are ready to enter the workforce, ready to enter college, educated, so we can have the same chances of success as our counterparts.
That's right. That means if they can do it, we can do it. So tell me, what does it mean to be a mentor?
It means a lot. The mentorship is a ripple effect. So of course, it's going to benefit the mentee. It's going to benefit the mentor. Everybody's going to find out new information, and ultimately, it's going to benefit the community. All right. So one kid may have never even thought of helping an elderly lady across the street when he's going in the same direction. A little bit of positive influence, some positive words may change his mind, may change his outlook on life, and he may help that young woman or elderly woman across the street to make sure she gets across safely.
So it's important now to the mentorees, the person who's getting into the advice. What's important for them? Like the young man that's going to be mentored, what advice you have for them?
Well, the mentees got to be receptive of the mentorship. All right, you got to be, you have to welcome some type of criticism to help you correct your ways, your wrong ways. So it's a lot. Like the community that we are in, it's unfortunate that a lot of these households are being led by single mothers. And I believe, and this is just my belief, that each young man should have a positive male figure to look up to, whether it's I'm a phone call away, just asking him a question, asking him advice on what to do. It's, that age around 12, 13, 14, young men start to feel differently. They start to explore things, manly things. And they need, of course, a woman, their mom can do it all. Women can do it all. They're the strongest creature on earth. But at times, you need to hear it from a man. And I think that's where the mentorship, we have all types of mentors coming from all walks of life, lawyers, architects, carpenters, principals. In every walk of life, they all come in to help and serve the Mount Vernon community.
We have a wide range of professionals coming here tonight to help these young men and to mentor them young men. So if they're not here and they're watching this, tell us how they can contact you or hashtag or give us some information on how we can push this further.
Okay, so we do have a social media page on Facebook. Is Mount Vernon My Brother's Keeper. But you also can go to the Mount Vernon School District to see Miss Donna Jackson. She's the one that's keeping the ongoing roster of people who's interested in signing up as a mentor. Now, there is a vetting process, so we're just not signing up anybody who comes. You know, this is similar to you applying for a job. You know, the surface background checks, you know, making sure you're not, you know, doing nothing crazy on your social media. The same things that your employer goes through, we will be going through. This is an important initiative that we're taking very seriously. Our young men need mentors to look up to and some guidance.
All jokes aside, he's definitely right. It's about making sure we step up as men, but do the right thing. So if you got crazy things on your page, that's going to influence the kid. And you got to be a truthful mentor. Yes. Don't gas these kids up. They're not your servants. So it's a responsibility to be a mentor. Treat them like you would want to be treated. So Shane, I thank you. Good luck. We're going to do this. Mount Vernon, any information, check my guy Shane out. He's in City Hall, 2nd floor. I ain't going to tell you too much where he at, but just check him out in City Hall. Shane, thank you. Good luck. No doubt. It's your boy, D. Brown. I'm back. I'm here with one of Mount Vernon's own, Malcolm Clark, graduate. What year you graduated this building?
2008.
So you're an alumni.
Yes, I am, and proud to be a Mount Vernon Knight, and it's been a blessing to come to this school. A lot of people talk down about Mount Vernon High School, but it's given me great character, and it's given me an opportunity to come back to Mount Vernon and really dig my roots here and help my people.
I had a ball here my 4 years here. I had a ball. I think it's a great school. I think it's a great community. I think we grew up in a special place. I mean, obviously, you have to feel that to understand it, but I think these halls are very special, and I feel special every time I walked in. I graduated in '94, so yeah, not too long ago, you know what I'm saying? I don't look it, you know what I'm saying? I ain't gonna tell you my secret, but special place. So tell me what you feel about today's event.
So I believe that My Brother's Keeper is a very integral part of Mount Vernon, especially with a lot of young black and brown boys who live in this community. And I think having a mentoringship event like this will definitely bridge the gap where a lot of our young boys and some girls as well actually need some mentors to kind of push them and push them forward to make sure that we're closing the gap on achievement. You know, Mount Vernon is a very special place. It has an immense lot of potential, and I think tonight you'll see a lot of that potential on display with the amount of young men who are here tonight who can kind of give their experience and give their wisdom on how to navigate this world. And I believe that here with My Brother's Keeper and the leadership of the school district and the city and all the other partners who are working together, that this is going to be a magical night, and we're going to really get some things done.
So you look forward to being involved. So you're going to be one of the mentors?
Absolutely. I've been helping him behind the scenes with My Brother's Keeper since its inception when I was in the mayor's office. I remember when Francis Wynn and Delia Farquharson came and they really wanted to get it off the ground, and I made sure that I helped them get it to where it is today. And I really, appreciate their leadership on that, and I really think that I'm willing to step up in any way that I can to be a mentor in this community and be a role model to a lot of people, because growing up on the south side of Mount Vernon, Leviston Towers, 1A, I mean, it was, you didn't see any of this growing up. And to really be in this community and see that we're having an effect, that young people are having an effect, that the older generations are now reaching down to the younger generations and bridging that gap and helping us move up together is something phenomenal. And I think My Brother's Keeper is something that's special.
You heard the man, My Brother's Keeper. If you're not a part of it, join it, something that's good. We're here. We didn't have My Brother's Keeper, but we here though. You know what I mean? So Mount Vernon High School, 2017, My Brother's Keeper.
Peace.
I'm with one of my main guys in Mount Vernon. He's been doing a lot, giving back. My man Mike. Mike, tell him about yourself, man.
What's going on, man? My name is Michael Campbell. I'm a lifelong Mount Vernonite. Been here my whole life. Went to.
Yeah, you left this building.
Well, I graduated from Thornton High School.
Okay. We give you. Okay, I'll go back.
2010. So Washington Elementary School became Thornton High School, so that's where I graduated from back in 2010. Graduated, went to Westchester Community College, became a registered respiratory therapist, work at Westchester Medical Center right now, and decided to start my own company about 2 years ago, Team Smooth Entertainment, with a couple of my friends who are also here from Mount Vernon, doing a whole bunch of community outreach and those type of things, and just trying to help people find their passion and follow their dreams.
Tell me how you feel about being a mentor.
Being a mentor it's the most amazing experience on a two-way street. Not only do you get to change somebody else's life as a mentor, but the mentee ends up changing your life just as much as you can possibly change their life. And it's important to have somebody to talk to, you know, sometimes outside of the family, somebody that you don't feel judges you as much. Because as much as you love your mother or your father or somebody in your family, there's some things that you just kind of feel more comfortable talking to somebody else.
So what advice would you have for the mentors that want to be a part of this? Like, because we have to be like real, we have to be honest as possible. So what advice would you give people who want to mentor other people?
People who want to mentor other people, the one thing I can say, and it's like really powerful, think about if you had a gun to your face and you were facing your own death. Are you happy with your life and the choices you've made and the things that you have done? And ultimately, if you can say yes at a moment like that, then you'll be okay. You have to be real. You have to just be in tune with yourself. Don't BS anybody because it wouldn't make any sense.
What about the mentee? What advice would you give the person who's being mentored?
To the person that's being mentored, have an open mind. Understand that they may not know exactly where you're coming from or your exact circumstances, but there is some common ground there. So have an open mind, always be willing to listen, and don't be afraid to speak up either. You have to be able to stand up for yourself. You have to be able to tell your side of the story as well. It's just as much you talking as it is them talking to you.
See that? Well, didn't I tell you I was going to bring some smart, intelligent people on this camera next to me? Yo, Mike, shout out whoever you need to shout out. Make sure you give your company a plug. Let me get some hashtags. Let me get some social media plugs. Go.
Okay, we're on Facebook, we're on Instagram, we're on Snapchat, Team Smooth ENT, E, the letter N, and T. Hashtag Team Smooth ENT on everything. You'll find us, you'll be up there. Shout out to my CFO, Austin Davis, my Director of Community Outreach, Maxwell Ruffin. We're building Team Smooth all the way to the top. If you're looking to follow me, I'm TSE_Mikey T. That's all I got to say.
That's all they got to say. Hit them up, follow them. You won't regret it. Peace. As you see, I'm back. MBK 2017, my brother's keeper, and I'm here with one of the community leaders. He didn't need my brother's keeper to be our brother's keeper. He been our community keeper for a long time. Since I was yay high growing up, this brother's always been a keeper to us. So MBK is something they started by title, but this man's been doing it by God and faith the whole time in the community. So without no further ado, I'd like to introduce our brother, my brother keeper, Brother Muhammad. What's up, my guy?
Peace and blessings to the community, and man, it's a phenomenal sight out there to see young men and elders from the community of various ages communicating. So I'm feeling good. I'm on what they call a natural high.
Yeah, because you've been, like I said, you've been doing this in our community my whole life growing up. I'm 42. I've known you since I was a teen doing this. So what does an event like this mean to you?
It means the culmination of a lot of planning. This is long overdue. We have to make Mount Vernon smaller. So Mount Vernon is small geographically. However, it's a lot of distance. There's a generational gap. There's a cultural gap. Sometimes the Caribbean Americans and the Black Americans don't naturally vibe as they should. So it's our job as elders and visionaries and leaders in the community and servants of the community to eliminate the excuses for our division. And so what this is beautiful, because you have business and professional people here who might not necessarily go to the schools, who might not necessarily go on the block, but they want to help. And so by the school district, the city being a conduit by way which we can match our young people with the elders, is a beautiful thing. So just to see it come together. See, this is greater than an event. Events, you do them and you leave, but programs are sustainable. So I'm feeling good with the possibilities that can come out from this. Our superintendent's vision is to have, in 1 year's time, 100 mentors tied to 100 students. And that's
big.
That's big. That's a great feat. And the beautiful thing about it is that the community ties in. So if you're listening to this and you're a man, of stature. And when I mean stature, you don't have to have a degree. You don't have to be perfect. You just have to have the will and the skill, the love in your heart to be there for our young people. I'm asking you to reach out to Brother Arthur Muhammad. You can find me. So if you from Mount Vernon, you can find me. But we're looking for men to step up because we have young men that we want to partner you with.
That's right. And I know I can speak for him on this. Between the both of us, we have 7 daughters, so we need we need good brothers.
You know, in truth, statistically speaking, black girls growing into young women are actually doing better than black men. There are more young women of color in college. There are more women have their own apartments, their own cars than our young black men. So there's a gap, a divide. And in order to have young men who are capable of maintaining our women, we gotta help them to increase what I call their GMG, their grown man game. And so that's the beautiful thing. In order to be something, you first must see something. And so they have to see examples of manhood. They have to see examples of success. And so that's what this day represents to me.
Because, like you said, reflection. If we show them that we can make it, we can grow up to be somebody, I think it's much easier to see it than read it in a textbook. Or because especially for business entrepreneurship, like for me, it wasn't too many black entrepreneurs I had to look up to when I started my business, and now there's like so many. So I think it's important that we give back. We show how you can still dress and look nice and be cool. You know what I mean? And so I think today is very important, and I thank you for being one of the key holders in the community for so long, and for this event to push it through. One more time, give us a little information on where we can find you if we need to contact Brother Muhammad.
The best thing to do, if you want to email me at broarthur4@gmail.com. That's BROARTHUR. The number 4@gmail.com. Or if you want to call me, just call the city school district and ask for Brother Arthur Muhammad. Brother D, you do a phenomenal job in our community, brother. You have always been an advocate for the city of Mount Vernon and everything positive. And I am honored to have been in your life and to be in your life. And as I transition, I'm 52 now. I really want to not only deal with the young brothers in high school, I want to talk about our future leaders. And our future leaders is actually our now leaders. You're a leader. And I want to try to help guide, shape, and mold them, because there's going to be a time when people my age are ready to put up their hat and just enjoy life and not necessarily be in the trenches. I'm going to be in the trenches till the day I die. Yeah. I'm letting y'all know that. Real soldiers of the community don't die, but I recognize that at a time a wise man needs to pass the baton. The Holy Quran says it like this. It says, old man for counsel, young man for war. So this is your time and your generation's time.
Hey, I'm ready. I'm here. You know what I mean? I'm here. I'm like KP from the Knicks. Ready to score 30 every night. I'm here. Yeah, it's your boy D Brown. I'm back. My Brother's Keeper 2017. I'm with one of the great men of Mount Vernon, one of the greatest lawyers that I know, Brian Johnson. What's up, my guy?
Hey, what's going on, Dwayne?
So, Brian, tell me what My Brother's Keeper mean to you.
My Brother's Keeper is a program for mentoring young men. That's one of my favorite things to do. I've only become successful by having a lot of people help me along the way. So I definitely wanted to make sure that I did that, give back. That's what it's all about, brother.
That's what it's all about, brother. So how long you been an attorney now?
I've been an attorney for close to 20 years. I've worked with the city of Mount Vernon for 15 years.
Wow, that's a pretty long. So you understand the community, you understand what some of these young men go through, but you also understand that it's not as bad as sometimes they make it.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, I think that for me, I like to mentor people from where they are. A lot of people think that they have to have a perfect road, a perfect start. I didn't have a perfect road. I didn't have a perfect start. So when I mentor, I like to take a person from where they are and help them identify a goal, a plan, and how to get there. Everyone doesn't want to be an attorney. So I don't mentor you to be an attorney because I'm an attorney. I ask you, what you want to do, and then I help you get to that goal. The other thing that about mentoring for me is that one that I find a lot of young men have not identified what it is that they want to do. And one of the things that I think is helpful when you're mentoring someone like that is to help them narrow down the things that are available to them, their interests, and kind of help guide them toward figuring it out for themselves. But that's an important part of mentoring.
You grew up in Mount Vernon, right?
Well, for the most part, I grew up in Mount Vernon. You know, my mom is from here. She was from Leversus Towers. I also grew up in Norwalk, Connecticut as well. We moved up there.
I mean, it's a balance of both.
Oh, no, yeah, a balance of both. You know, I was always here on the weekends. Once we moved to Connecticut, I've always had a relationship with Mount Vernon. And when I got to be an adult, I moved back to Mount Vernon.
So what would your message be to the young men that we're about to mentor?
My message is that there's hope. Stay positive, stay around positive people, seek out mentors, and stay away from negativity.
You heard it. And he's a lawyer, so he knows. He wouldn't lie to you. He would not lie to you. Lawyers do not lie. They're not supposed to. So he's telling the truth, right?
That's exactly right. Mount Vernon's #1.
Been the visionary of this effort. He's our leader here in terms of education for the city of Mount Vernon, the esteemed Dr. Hamilton. Let's give him a round of applause, everybody. Hold on. See, I didn't say Christina Aguilera. I didn't say Eminem or Vanilla Ice. I'm talking about the one who has the awesome task of educating our young people, finding a vision that's suitable and with the great caliber for our young men and our young women. So I'm going to act like we didn't do that. So y'all going to rewind, y'all going to delete, y'all going to do that over. It is my pleasure to bring up our leader, our educational leader with the 2020 vision for the city of Mount Vernon. Let us bring up Dr. Kenneth R. Hamilton with a round of applause.
Let's give it up to Brother Muhammad as well. Good evening, everyone. First of all, let me say thank you for coming out tonight, to our men who have expressed an interest in serving as a mentor, and to our young men for coming out this evening. We are excited about our partnership between the city and the school district and our pledge to adopt this My Brother's Keeper initiative, which was one of the most powerful initiatives started by our 44th President, Barack Obama. And even though he has left office, he has secured over $1 billion in support to continue this initiative, so it does not die simply because he has left office. So I think it's important for us to know that. So the flow of the evening, the flow of the night will be as follows. We are going to facilitate a conversation with the men in the room who are interested in serving as mentors, and our goal is twofold. We want ultimately to pair our young boys up, our young men up with folks who are interested in being mentors. And then the second part of this, after we have an incredible meal, is to have a conversation with Peter Guns, who is a personal friend of mine, his son Corey Guns, and really talk about an initiative called Guns Against Guns, and why that is so important for us to have that knowledge and that understanding, particularly in communities like ours where gun violence is prevalent and becoming all too common. And he's going to talk to you about his experiences with that and to give some insight. And the reason I asked Peter to come tonight is not just because of his celebrity and notoriety. And even though, you know, you see him as this reality show star, and the way the reality show portrays Peter is one way, but there's a whole nother side to Peter Guns that's this incredible man who's got so much insight and so much to offer, and this is an opportunity for you to get to know the Peter Guns that you don't see on reality TV. So that's the second part of our initiative. So without further ado, I'm going to pass the microphone back over to Brother Muhammad. He's going to give you direction. We're going to be on task and on time so we can eat, because I am famished. So we're going to make sure that we have an incredible meal that's provided by 2 Fish and 5 Loaves, another friend of mine who is catering this evening for us. And once we have our breakout sessions, we'll reassemble here, have our dinner, and then move on.
Thank you, Dr. Hamilton. Let's give him a round of applause. So at this time, I'm going to ask all of the adults to stand up. Please stand up. And I would like you to follow me into the community room where we'll have a presentation. And the young men, you will be given a presentation by the assistant of the mayor, Shane Brooks, who's here. Where's Shane? Come on up here, Shane. He assists Mayor Richard Thomas. Let's give Shane Brooks a round of applause. And then after we conduct our presentation, we'll come back to join you. So young men, this is what I want you to do. As our elders, the adults in the community, go and get their instructions, I want you to understand that they have sacrificed their time. They have given a commitment that they want to be a part of one of your lives. And so as they leave the room, I need you to stand and clap for them. Come on with me, brothers.
So my name is Shane Brooks. I was born and raised in Mount Vernon. Been through the school district. I went to Washington Elementary, which now you guys know it as Nellie Thornton High School. I went to A.B. Davis and graduated from Mount Vernon High School in 1998. Went to the University of Buffalo and majored in public communications, and I graduated from there in 2003. After graduating, I spent a number of years in the nonprofit sector, dealing with nonprofit organizations, servicing an array of cities, but my own. So I spent 13 years in nonprofit, and I finally got a chance to come back home and provide services to the city I was born and raised in. Like I said, I'm the special assistant to Mayor Thomas. My focus is community engagement and partnership development. So we're here today because we're here for the My Brother's Keeper mentoring program. As Dr. Hamilton said, our 44th president, Mr. Obama, put this initiative together to ensure that young men who look like you have a fair chance in succeeding in whatever you put your mind to. And I just want you to know, next door, we have some men who come from all different walks of life. We have lawyers, we have carpenters, we have administrators, we have principals, we have police officers, firefighters, who's here and committed to giving you a different view on life. You know, it's in our community, we have a lot of single parent households, and most of the time those single parents are the mothers. Most of the time the mom can do the whole job, but there's some things that young men need to hear from men. You know, around that age of 12, 13, you start to go through certain things, you start to experience different situations, and the mother is always there, but sometimes you need the guidance of a male mentor. I just wanted to ask you a question. Has anybody ever had a mentor in their life right now or in the past? And the people that raise their hand, you care to share that experience briefly? A mentor is, most of the time, an older person, a male mentor. So a mentor is someone that you can confide in, someone you trust, someone you can talk to about some of the things that you may not want to talk to your mom about. All right, so someone who can give you guidance, someone who can put you on the right path, show you different options, and just be a positive role model and have a positive impact. So you had that experience before? You care to share how that affected you?
And maybe a better person because I'm able to open up to certain people that like usually I'll keep my stuff inside of me instead of writing it out. But like with my mentor, as in my coach. I was able to talk to him about like certain stuff that I'm not able to talk to my mom about.
The school district, Dr. Hamilton, and the city of Mount Vernon, Mayor Richard Thomas, has partnered up and took on this initiative to better serve our community and to identify the problems and issues that we're facing, and together we're going to try to come up with a solution to make this all right. But can someone explain to me what they think a mentor is, a positive mentor?
Definition of a mentor is like someone that shows you right from wrong, like someone that tells you like what's best to do, like, but not technically tell you what's best to do, but like the best thing to do. Like, you know what I'm trying to get at? Yeah, like someone that will guide you.
I think a mentor is a person who tells you from right from wrong, when to do something or when not to do something, when is the right time to do something. That's it.
My definition of a mentor is someone that you look up to that can help you along the way. Just like a second father, someone that you can call on a daily basis if you're having something on your own that you don't feel like talking to yourself. And that they're always there for you in the need of time, not just when they want to be. When you're there, they're right there next to you.
My name is Dwayne Brown. I am, I used to run the Chamber of Commerce. Anybody know what Chamber of Commerce is? What is it? Shoe store? No. Chamber of Commerce is our business area. So when business people come into town and want to do business, they see me and I try to help them out, whether they have issues. But bigger than that, I grew up here. I went to this high school. I'm an entrepreneur. Anybody know what entrepreneur is? Nobody here knows what an entrepreneur is. Everybody heard the word entrepreneur? Huh? Raise your hand. It's all good. What is it? You don't know what it is? What do you think it is? Start your own business, yeah. So I started my own business when I was 20. I'm 42. I'm an event planner. I throw events. I do photography, I do video, I do balloons, I make tables and set up tables like this. So I have many mentors in life. Business mentors, school mentors. Mr. Burks was my mentor. Miss Wingate was my mentor when I wanted to throw proms. She allowed me to throw proms at school. So mentors could be many different things and many different people. Some mentors I never met. There's business mentors of mine I've never met, but they're mentors of mine, right? Because they get where I wanted to get. They're doing what I wanted to do. Success. How many in here want to be successful in life? Raise your hand. So everybody hand is raised, right? Before this video is about to get started. Everybody hand is raised to be successful, right? Keep your hands up. How many people did something today to be successful? Right? You got to do it every day. To be successful, you have to do it every day. It's not sometimes, it's not once a week, it's every day. I'm going to let the video play because I know you're trying to get along, but we're going to have a dialogue when I get through this. I'm from this building. I'm going to tell you right now, if you go to Instagram, there's not a celebrity or a person of importance you know that I haven't met in the last 20 years. I met all 4 presidents. Last week, I'm filming something for a Love and Hip Hop character, and by the time I go home, they're on TV. And I did it because I dream every day, I don't stop working, and I know I can be somebody. So I'm gonna let y'all watch the videotape, but our dialogue when you see me is gonna be on a real one-on-one basis and success. All I wanna do is be successful, and all I want is people around me that wanna be successful.
One of my questions is, a big part of being successful is as Mr. Dwayne Brown said, is repetition. You have to form the successful habits. All right, you can't just do it when you feel like you want to do it. It has to be done every day, day in and day out. So that, like, I know we have athletes in here, and practice doesn't make perfect. You know that, right? Practice doesn't make perfect. A perfect practice makes perfect. All right, so it's a lot of repetition. It's doing some things that you don't want to do, like staying in the gym that extra hour, getting up an hour earlier to do a workout by yourself, and then going into your team workout. There's a lot of things that come with success.
early mornings, late nights, those are the things that you gotta be ready for when you want to become successful. Like there's a motivational speaker he goes by the hip hop preacher, Eric Thomas. He said, when you want to become successful, when you want it more than you want to breathe, then you become successful. So every breath you take, you got to breathe success. What grades do we have here? How many ninth graders do we have? 10th graders. 11. 12. All right, so for some of the 12th graders, since this is, hopefully this is your final year. Yep. And that you got some sort of plan mapped out. And I want to hear, what's your plan?
Hopefully by the time I graduate, I should have, I work on music at the moment, so by that time I should probably, be, established enough to start a small business.
Okay.
I'm trying to get more into like computer engineering.
Okay. Okay, you have a plan?
Not really, not yet.
Okay, that's not no problem. You'll figure it out.
My plan is to get accepted into a good college. There, study the major I want to do is engineering. From there on, get a good job and get my family in a better situation from what we're in, because we're not really in a good spot. So I'm trying to get my family into a better place.
Okay.
My plan is to, once I graduate from high school, was to study business marketing. Is to do business marketing and study ways and learn ways I can create a business.
My plan is to get accepted and get a full ride D1 to Stony Brook University and study in physical therapy.
And what sport?
Football.
So what's your backup plan?
Studying physical therapy, become a physical therapist and travel the world.
My plan is also to get accepted to D1 college. If that doesn't work, I want to go to college for business and marketing, trying to own my own company.
My plan is after I graduate high school, I have 3 options for 3 colleges. It's Cambridge, it's MIT, and it's Oxford, to express my creativity in chemical engineering, technical engineering, and mechanical engineering.
As you know, there has been a proliferation of gun violence across the nation, and Mount Vernon has had its share. So I've been asked Peter to come to talk about his experiences with guns. And the reason I asked Peter to come is because I know that young folks may be able to hear a message from me or from their teachers, but someone who has notoriety and celebrity and credibility in an industry and in a culture where our young people gravitate, they're more likely to hear that message from them than they are from us. And then we have the jobs to then follow up and cement that knowledge and that information. So that's why I asked Peter Guns to come in and share his experience with us in an initiative that he is pioneering called Guns Against Guns, and how fitting is that for our evening. So I mentioned earlier today, for those of you who arrived late, I mentioned earlier that Peter Guns is known for the reality show Love and Hip Hop and for being recognized as a hip hop artist, as well as his son Corey, who's here this evening. Reality TV perpetuates a certain image of people, and that's what they are supposed to do. They are supposed to perpetuate images that make people want to tune in. But there's a whole other side to the people that you see on TV, and a lot of times what is portrayed on television only captures that which they want to sensationalize or extort or exaggerate to some extent. I have gotten to know Peter Guns as a personal friend, and know that there is no greater person as an example of a decent human being than Peter Guns. And it is for that reason that I drew upon our friendship to ask him to come. So I'm going to ask Peter and Corey and to come on up stage. Pat Minister, if you would join us as well. If you'll come up on stage and have a seat. What I'm going to do is just ask Guns, while you're enjoying your dinner,
yes,
to talk a little bit about the Guns Against Guns initiative and why you saw it necessary to have this initiative. Now, as you know, we've had quite a bit of gun violence in Mount Vernon, some murders and some near murders as a result of guns and the availability of guns. And I know you have had some experiences with them as well.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I grew up in the Bronx, so it's been a little, you know, it's crazy all my life. But you know, I want to touch on something you touched on first before I go there. A lot of times, people, you know, when I go to speak to children or speak to the youth, my younger brothers, a lot of their parents and a lot of, you know, peers that watch the show say, how is he going to mentor my child after I see, you know, when I see him? And I just want to say, you know, when you have a platform like that where you're reaching millions and millions of people, you have to do something positive with it, even though you're being viewed in a negative light. And in that half hour, I shoot hours and hours worth of footage. I do this on the show, but they don't show it. I'm on Rikers Island every month. They don't show it. And it's not for money. It's just for, you know, I'm tired of seeing my young brothers go to jail at disproportionate, you know, it's just, it's mind-boggling, and I feel partly responsible. So I wanted to say that first. As far as guns, my experience is I'm a victim of being a felon for carrying an illegal firearm as a youth, not realizing that it follows you. And in my day, when I got caught with an illegal firearm, I received probation, and in my mind, I beat it. Nah, you're carrying a felony. The district attorney got their conviction, and you're another statistic, another black man with a felony. So I feel responsible to come out and speak about it, and to tell my older brothers, my age, we have to start. I speak to people my age too, because we always live by the excuse of, don't be like me. And to me, that's an easy coward way out to say that. And what I mean by that is, your youth want to be like you. And I'm telling y'all, the only way that we can change this is for you guys have to change it and say, I want the next generation to be just like me. So if I say to myself, don't carry a gun, Corey. You know what I mean? Don't be like me. My son got caught with a gun. Same age I got caught with a gun. He's a felon too. Corey, you know, all these tattoos I got. Corey got tattoos. Corey, I rapped. I dropped out of school and pursued a rap career. I didn't go, you know, whatever. Fortunately for us, it's you know what I mean? We turn down cable for everyone that does that. It's not, you know, it's not so. I feel responsible to tell us we have to start leading by example. And don't be like me. Say, be just like me. And y'all in positions tell the next generation and the ones under y'all to be just like you. So, first off, guns against guns. I don't have to tell y'all that what guns do to you. We all know guns kill. That's the easy way. Guns kill. You can get killed carrying a gun. Now, here's the deal. I already know this, but I want to look at it and make sure I'm right. You're most likely to get killed or locked up carrying a gun. You're more likely to get killed by a gun carrying it than carrying and killing somebody. That's 80% more chance of you getting killed with a gun carrying a gun. So that. The other thing is that it's a mandatory minimum of 3 to 9 years in jail. So when I walk through the hoods and I'm handing out and I'll take questions and I'll listen to people spit bars and all that after they listen to me talk about these laws, because some people are not aware and they traps for us. So yeah, the other thing is that, you know, when you reach Rikers Island, 50% chance you get slashed, cut, stabbed, don't come out the same. There are more cases of HIV on Rikers Island than in the whole New York City. So it's just little things like that, Valhalla, all of that. So little things like that that we're not aware of, that I think you have to start, you know, being aware of. And a lot of the youth that's in there, the high school dropouts, come back in, it's a revolving door. And I just don't want to see that happen to you guys. And whatever I could do, I hand out my number, call me if you're in a hard time. If I can help you, sometimes, you know, it helps me to hear your voice and you reaching out to me. As much as I'm a mentor, it makes me feel good to do so. And if just I could change just one person, Ken, that's all that matters to me.
I think that's really important. So when Guns talks about the platform that he has, it's not every day that you have millions of people who view you on a weekly basis, and with reruns, sometimes 2 or 3 times a week. And how you can use that notoriety, or what I call celebrity, to flip the switch and use that in a positive way. And this is an opportunity to do that. So when you see Guns on TV, or you see various people portrayed on television, that is just a snapshot of what producers and networks want you to see to hook you in. And those positive messages that the celebrity have, it doesn't sell. They're not interested in that. They're interested in exploitation, and they're interested in sensationalism. So I want to ask you, Guns, at what point did you start to see the shift? So when you when you were convicted and you served your time, because what I want our young men to walk away with is understanding the connection between choices, behavior, and consequences. Because I think when you get that recipe, you can then make different decisions if you're aware of that. So at what point did you flip and decide, I've got to change the course that I'm on? And then how did you convey that message to your son, Corey, who was following in your footsteps?
It was more of a few things that I wanted to do, couldn't do anymore. You know, at that time, music was priority, but of course, you know, you always have your backup plan. So if I wanted to, you know, join the fire department or whatever I wanted to do, at that time I was supposed to go and do a tour overseas in a musical. Couldn't go. Shaquille O'Neal asked me to write for him and be a part of his label. Couldn't go. I'm a felon. So it started affecting the real things around me. Then I had to go visit the probation officer on a regular basis. And that's another thing. So now you don't even have room to mess up at all anymore. You know, so that was the shift in anything that I wanted to do, I couldn't do it anymore. And I was always telling Corey, but at the same time, I would just tell him. Or he understand, he see what I'm going through. But I still wasn't living like the example I should have been living for, you know, him or any other kids that looked up to me, because not all of Corey's friends have fathers. So some of them looked up to me because they see me and my son like, we so, you know, we like grew up in the same house. I was 17 when he was on the way, so it was like we were like brothers, but I'm his dad, and his friends looked up to me, you know. So just being, you can't do what you want to do. And that was the wake-up call for me. Like, what? I can't. No. And then later on, you wanna legally carry a firearm just to protect your family or just to protect yourself. You can't. You're not eligible for. No longer you're a felon. So again, it blocks so many things in life for you. And then they got, you know, you just right now you put yourself in a position of right now if a police officer stopped me, right? And I did everything I was supposed to do, and something went wrong, they're able to point back to something that happened to me when I was 20 years old and say, oh, he's been convicted of a felony for carrying a gun. So that automatically makes me look guilty or bad. So that's some of the things you just have to think about. It's not something you want to carry with you at all.
So I'm going to give you guys an opportunity at the end to ask questions. But Corey, I wanted to ask you, how did you learn from your father's experiences And what impact did it have on the choices and decisions that you're making as a young man now?
As far as the excuse me, the impact that his decisions, his choices, his decisions have made on me, I would have to say my dad always raised me like it wasn't really controlling. It was always I could show you this route to go, and I could tell you, I could give by experience, this path is not the right path, but as a man, it's up to you to make that decision. But I could tell you that it's not the right way. So it was always instilled in me to make the right decisions, not saying on my own, not to put it out there like that, but he always pointed me in the right direction. So me having to learn and just being under his tutelage and having his guidance and just certain things, like I could get ready to make a decision that I know I would regret for a long time, and then I think back in my head, like, oh, my pops would not appreciate this, or this is not how I came up, this is not how I was raised. I have more integrity and morals than this, like. So I just think twice on it, and a lot of the stuff he's distilled in me growing up, he's been a big influence. I haven't always been the best, I'm not an angel, nobody's perfect, like, but I definitely know right from wrong. So that plays a major part. Looking at him and saying that to say that through his experiences, including some of my uncles and some people that I've known growing up, street uncles, whoever, seeing the paths that they've taken, I know what steps to take and what steps not to take. That's what I'm trying to say.
I think that's really powerful to hear you say that, because oftentimes we miss out on the obvious. So when we have those examples in our lives, or we see those people that we pass on the street, because I remember being a kid and people who were my peers and chose to go a different path, where I'd have to walk past these people every day, and it was enticing. I wanted to do some of the things that they were doing, but I knew that I had a different purpose and a different focus. Kwame, let me ask you, from your experiences, how do you use your experience to help young people make better choices?
First, I'd just like to say praise. I'm going to give honor to God before I even speak. Born in the Bronx, Soundview Projects, I've experienced firsthand the effects of gun violence on both sides of the gun. Coming up, I was in the streets running real hard, was an enforcer, or like one of the young people would say today, I was a shooter. So I had a lot of activity with guns. My first experience with guns, actually seeing a gun, was unfortunately from my father. When I was 11 years old, he came in the house, he put a gun in a drawer. I actually gave it to me to put it up. He died a year later. I picked up the guns from 12 years old. I was in the street carrying guns pretty much every day. So I experienced the effects of guns firsthand. Fast forward now today, by the grace of God, I'm a supervisor for an organization called Stand Up to Violence, which deals with gun violence in the communities. We treat gun violence like a disease. Detect it, we intercept it, and we treat it, dealing with high-risk individuals in the community. Up here, you might be familiar with it called SNUG. SNUG Mount Vernon, which Francis, a friend of mine, he runs that. But just seeing the effects of gun violence firsthand and from my peers, understanding that I had to do something different. I had to come to a point where I had to be part of the solution and not the problem. Today, you know, I like to say one shot fired is one shot too many. And we have to let the young people know that and be examples, like Pete said earlier. Be the example, say, you know, I want you to be more like me, instead of coming up and saying, don't be like me, you can do this. But give them examples and be those role models, just let them see a difference and have better decisions, because it's needed on today. Working in the hospital, SUV is a state-funded program in Jacoby Hospital. So I see people firsthand after they've been shot in the emergency room. I see the effects of the families, the friends, and how it really affects them. And seeing it on that side, you understand that we got to get up and do something about it. Because it's you know, when you hear a gunshot fired and you see kids where they're not even affected by it, it's just the norm. We want them to know that that can no longer be the community norm. That can't be a norm. It can't be accepted in our communities. So, you know, knowing Pete over 30 years, this is my brother, that's my nephew, and over 30 years knowing him and our experiences, and knowing that he's not just doing this because like a PR stunt. You know, over 3 years ago, he came to be about, yo, we got to do something about the gun violence, and wanting to do it, and wanting it to get aired on the show. They would keep shooting it down, and to see that he still wants to do that and have events like this, you know, this is what it's about. And to see these young men in here, man, I'm truly impressed, man. And the men that came and stepped up to the plate to make a difference. This is big. This is huge. This is what it's about, because I believe that we are all created on purpose with a purpose, and one of our purposes is to lead a better example to change the universe in a whole. So, you know, I'm grateful to be a part of that change, and whatever I can do to help with that, you know, I'm here to do that.
I appreciate that. So I've had the opportunity, what many of you may not know is, you know, I've had some experience in the entertainment industry, and I'll often get an opportunity to pitch show ideas. And I can recall pitching show ideas to networks about responsible TV, responsible programming, programming that wasn't about exploitation and negativity, but really putting positive messages out there. And I was told time and time again, you know what, that's a great idea, Dr. Hamilton, that's really responsible, but people don't want to hear that. People want to hear about drama, people want to hear about reality, people want to hear about how you exploit someone and how you use that platform in a derogatory way. And that is not to say that there aren't positive things on TV, there are. But unfortunately, there are so many things that are counterproductive to the messages that we want our children to get, and it manifests itself in schools, because this is the one place where they all get to come together, no matter where they live in the community. School is the one place where it all comes together. But here's the elephant in the room that I want to put on the table. So here we have a successful reality star, successful hip hop artist, successful entrepreneur, folks who have had experiences with guns and been incarcerated. How do I make sure my young men don't leave here saying, oh, well, you know what? All right, so they kind of went through that, but they did all right at the end. They did all right. Statistically, it doesn't always turn out this way. And that's what I want our young men to hear today. I don't want anybody walking away thinking, well, you know, Corey did it, and he all right, guns, he's on TV every week, he all right, you know, they got through it. How do we make sure that that's not what they walk away with? That's not the tidbit that they walk away with?
I mean, the best example I could give of that is like, how many people y'all know that say they rap, or they trying to rap, or trying to get a deal? Yo, I'm rapping, I'm about to do my rap thing. How many people have a friend that raps, or they rap themselves, or this and that? How many of them are stars with record deals and successful? So, you got Jay-Z, you got Puff, you got Eminem. There's only a few people on their way to being billionaires or being just still here. If you look at the rate of successful artists and then the rate of the ones that don't get to that platform, or they just came out, they were hot and they're gone. I had a #1 record in 1998, Uptown Baby. The #1 platinum, Grammy nominated, all of that. I was dry since. That's the reason you see me on Love and Hip Hop, because I needed that check. And I also want to be clear, I want to go back to this right here. I don't want y'all to think, you know what, if they not showing nothing positive on the show, why is he still filming it? Why would he let them just show him in that light? Nah, they film it. That's how he gets you. They film it. They come with me, they film this, they'll film this meeting. Let's pacify Peter Guns. He's saying he's only being showed in a negative light. They film it. Yo, Guns, you know what? It didn't quite fit the episode. So I don't want y'all to ever think, yo, you out there doing it, you ain't making them show nothing positive. No, they film it. And they yo, we gonna show you in a different light on this one because you did give it up for the, and they don't show it. Or I argue with them to come with me to do certain things, and it's, you know, it's always certain things. You know, you also have people that say, you know what, I don't want that on the show. And I also don't want to do it for the show sometimes because I don't want people to think he's only doing that so he can be, you know, get light for it. Because a lot of stuff I do is just in the streets. But back to your original point, I hate to drift off like that, but again, that's the best example I could give you. You know what I mean? And that's why it's important to always, you know, I grew up like, somebody once told me, man, don't have a if you have a backup plan, because it was the worst advice somebody could ever give me. If you have a backup plan, then you ain't gonna follow your first thing. Nah, man. I don't believe that. I believe you have to have that education for your family, you know, that backup, that, you know, like in scenario that this don't where you go, the music's gonna be there, sports gonna be there, basketball, you know, come on, man. I knew people won't think I'm lying. I knew ball players that played better than a lot of players that made it. They didn't make it, you know, for whatever reason, gun violence, felonies, or just hurt themselves, whatever it might be. So you have 1 million people out there, and, you know, so please don't use me as an example. And I still don't feel like, you know, there's a lot of, you know, lawyers and doctors and bankers and even Mr. Hamilton. Mr. Hamilton's house is crazy. I should have stayed, well, I say I come to school, I should have stayed in school, huh? So there's a lot of other professions out there and things you can do to you know, and sometimes our checks stop. Those checks grow and they keep coming. So on the long haul, you turn out more successful than, you know. Prince said this, Prince the singer, was talking one day and he said that he didn't want to be on a major label no more because they was ripping him off. And I thought this was the best example I could use for you. And he wasn't selling, he started selling his records on his own, out the back of his car, or whatever he was doing online. And he wasn't selling as many records as he was. So he went from a platinum artist to somebody that was only selling 300,000. So they asked him, how do you feel about Mariah Carey selling 5 million records and you only selling 500,000? He said, that's okay, she's number 1 on the charts. I'm number 1 at the bank. Because 100% of my money is coming to me. You know what I mean? So you could use that as an example even with education and going to school and being in a different position. As it goes along, you won't always be there. Love and Hip Hop goes off tomorrow. People don't care about me next year. But I ain't on the show, so that's why I say you just gotta keep going and keep your next thing on. And you know, and if the show don't go on, I'm gonna fall back on this. Fortunately for me, I'm doing this play called Flow, so I got my next backup plan.
So, Corey, I'd like you to respond to that so that our boys don't walk away with the wrong message. Very successful, notoriety in the hip-hop industry. You are the exception, not the rule. How do you make sure our young men understand that you are the exception?
I think it all really starts with a great support base. I don't know anybody in here's religious beliefs, but having a strong faith in whatever you believe in and believing in your family. And also just, like I said earlier, like something that I never really understood until I got older was listening. That's the best thing you could do at any age. I don't think anybody in the world knows everything. Something I learned was if you listen, you learn more, but if you talk, you're just repeating stuff you already know. So I just always was grateful for paying attention and having people around me, like my father, for example, just his leadership and his guidance. And you just gotta think positive. Think about all of the ways, think about what you're trying to do and the risk you're about to take or what that could potentially do for your dream. That's all I could really say. Just be smart.
Kwame, a successful entrepreneur. We are very familiar with Snugs here in Mount Vernon. What is your message to our young boys about being, understanding that you are an exception to the statistics?
I think the best thing I can say is that I lost more material and lost more friends making those choices. You don't hear about those stories of, you know, I got friends that were killed 14, 15 that were in the streets making the wrong decisions. So you lose a lot more celebrating bad behavior. So one of the things I like to do is celebrate good behavior. You know, when you see somebody striving and doing the right thing, celebrate them. Tell them, listen, man, I like what you're doing, man. Keep doing what you're doing. Encourage them, because believe it or not, that goes a long way. You know, I was listening in the other room when they were talking about the mentorship and mentoring. And when I look at mentorship, I look at like a mentor, you know, touring and two men taking a tour together through experiences, through relationships, showing each other things that you might not have learned before. And it's key, because when I was coming up, I was a mentor, but for a negative. You know, when I came together with young men, I was teaching them how to be destructive, you know, how to do more harm than good. So I understand when you have a young man's ear, you know, what you say goes a long way. And you know, like one of my little cousins is one of the leaders of one of the most notorious gangs in New York. And one of my, greatest regrets is him listening to what I said. One day he called me from the federal penitentiary where he's spending 125 years of life. He's never coming home. He's locked down 23 hours a day, right? And he called me from the federal penitentiary and he said, yo, remember when we was in camp, when we were kids? And he came to me crying. And I said, man, what you crying for? He was upset because when we came up, we were taught not to hit girls. And at that time, my mindset was different. If you violated me, I dealt with you. And I told him, don't let anyone disrespect you. And he took that information, and now he's calling me from a federal penitentiary. And he went all the way back to that moment. And from that point on in his life, he decided that he wasn't going to let anyone disrespect him, no matter who they was and no matter what he had to do. So imagine the weight that was on me listening to this phone call, that I spoke something into him that he kept with him. And now he's doing 125 years to life in a federal penitentiary, 23 hours lockdown. His name is Pistol Pete, P.D. Rolock. So I understand the power of words and influence. So what I would say to the mentors and everyone in here, be very careful of your words. You're planting a seed that will grow, will mature, you know? And again, I've lost more making bad decisions than I gained making good ones. You know, so I just would encourage you, don't think, you know what, I gotta make these decisions, I gotta carry a gun, I'll catch a case and I'm gonna sell records. No, it don't work like that. That's not how it works. And a lot of times the media, they try to get you to believe that, you know, 50 Cent got shot, so that's where his success is. No, his success is from putting in hard work, sacrifice, dedication. You know, so early on, learn how to put in that work and trust the process and make better decisions. So what I would say is celebrate good behavior versus bad behavior.
I think you said something really powerful there, and that's about planting seeds in our young boys' ears. Like they will not remember everything we say to them, but there are some messages that they will hear. I know that there are folks that I have mentored, and young men and girls too, for that matter, who I have taught during my career, who I had no idea I had so much of an impact on them, who find me on Facebook and say, remember when you said so-and-so to me? I never forgot that, and that made the difference. That was the turning point for me. Or I always thought about if I made this decision, and I really want to say this to the men who are here today who are interested in serving as mentors. When you develop the right relationship, because in spite of what our children tell us, statistically, our children want to be told what to do. They want boundaries. They may rebel, they may act rebellious, they may resist curfews, and they may resist having parameters set for them. But statistically, on a national level, our young people want boundaries set for them. So oftentimes when you think they're not listening to you, they really are. Because at the end of the day, sometimes they will play that tape back in their head. If I do such and such, that's going to really be offensive to my mentor, or that'll be disrespectful to my mother, or that'll be disrespectful to my father. So you have to always be mindful of the seeds that you plant, because they do carry weight. I want to give Guns an opportunity to talk more about the turning point, because a lot of our young men here today, none of us are perfect. We all have a history, we all have a past. I've done things that I wish I could do over, frankly, and I'm sure there are other men in the room who can attest to the same thing. But at some point, the association between choices and behavior has to become paramount. At some point, you have the opportunity to change your thinking, to change your behavior. So if I know I'm getting ready to get into mischief, I'm gonna leave here and I'm gonna walk over to 5th, and I know when I get over there, I'm gonna do something I'm not supposed to do. But between here and 5th, I have all these opportunities. I can turn around, I can change my mind, I could go to a friend's house, I could pick up the phone. I have all these opportunities where I have a chance to change that decision, that one decision that could cost me my life or have me spend the rest of my life in jail. What were some of those triggers for you, Guns, that made you rethink about a choice that you would have made that redirected you?
Family, you know, first and foremost, family, loved ones, because like Kwame said, my brother said, the people around you. So if you don't think about anything else, if you don't care about yourself, what about your family? You want to leave your mother, you know, you hurt. Because that's, at the end of the day, here to tell y'all, you get locked up, Mom Dukes, Pops, all those people you think is your mans around you, you up north, wherever you at, you really learn who your friends are. So who's inconvenienced? Mom Dukes. Maybe 1 or 2 close relatives, if that. Your little girlfriend, she off to the next thing. So that you know, just the people around you that you hurt is what made me, that's what made you the thinking point. What I want y'all to think about now is, back in those days, I'm 48. There was a time of, you know, look, man, I might be able to get away with, you ain't getting away with nothing no more. Those days are over. There's cameras in every light, there's cameras everywhere you don't know there are cameras, every store, every corner, so you'd be like, yo, he did that at 3 in the morning, and they caught him in this. These cameras, man, they got cameras in space that zoom down and see an ant. You know what I mean? So you're not getting away with it no more. So if you don't want to listen to anything else, just know that you're going, one time, this is a true story. After I'm already in a different place, I still had a legal firearm. I did dumbness. I had a friend of mine called me and said he had a situation, he needed that. And in my record, it was 5 years on my record. Starting 5 years, starting. You can get more, but not less. So me just walking out to help a friend, yo, hey man, you need, and a cop stopping me or anything is, when I see the judge. She could add more, he could add more, but there was nothing less. And that was one of the things, I was getting ready to walk out the house, I got rid of that, and I said, you know what, those days are over, man. You know what I mean? So it's just, find someone you could call. Find, you know, like the mentor program is so dope, man. Like if you're in a situation where you need someone to talk to, please, you know what I mean? Pick up the phone, whatever it is. Call, you're just not getting away with it. And you hurt more than yourself.
You make a very, very good point that I want to say to our young men today. And as you have questions, you can begin to get your questions together, because I'm going to give you an opportunity. Brother Muhammad, I don't know if there's another microphone that you can start taking around to our boys, but I want to give them an opportunity. One of the things I want our young people to know is when something happens in the community, if there's a shooting in the community, I get a phone call immediately as the superintendent. It's 2 o'clock in the morning on a Saturday night or Saturday morning or 5 o'clock. The police will call me and say, one of your students is involved in an incident. We need access to this camera or that camera. So I immediately deploy security to get cameras. So the point that Guns makes is really, really paramount. There are cameras everywhere. And what they do is they triangulate. This camera may capture one image. Another camera could capture another image, until they get the information together that they need. And the police pride themselves on being able to capture perpetrators as quickly as possible. So when there's an incident, I'm gaining access, and we have a partnership with the police. They have access to me 24/7, and I in turn respond. The mayor and I talk on a regular basis if something happens in the city. He will call me and say, I want you to know this is what's going on. And we talk about how we can strategize with our resources together so that we can keep our community safe and keep our kids safe. So do know that. Do know that there is a way to find young people who are perpetuating the wrong kinds of images and committing crimes in our community.
And
so,
not to mention, sorry to cut you off, but snitching is at an all-time high. Let's not leave that out of the question. So you're right, the person right next to you, when they come and start talking them numbers, and how you know y'all was together, they gonna turn on you. I don't care how tough you think they are. I seen the toughest of tough. You know what I mean? So they not just cameras, they're friends that'll get you smashed. So please, man, just do the right thing.
That's it. All right, we'll take any questions, Brother Muhammad, you have?
I want to first start with the students. If any students have any questions, I want to give you an opportunity. I saw a couple of hands from adults, but I want to ask that any of my students have any questions, any high schoolers. No questions?
Don't be shy.
Good evening.
Good evening.
This question is to the panel. I wanted to know, did bullying play a part in your decision or your manhood being challenged in reference to carrying a gun and or weapon?
I mean, in my case, I'm the youngest of 5 brothers. So bullying was never an issue. Unless it was my brothers telling me, if you don't handle that, I'm gonna handle you. So my brothers and my pops was a bully in my life. I don't know about you, Mr. Simpson.
Nah, I don't believe bullying made a decision. It was just the people around me. I came up around that environment. Like I said, my father, that's where I seen the first gun. It was just a choice that I made. And it was a choice I made without really understanding the full consequences. You know, it was just like the norm for me.
Great, thank you.
No, bullying wasn't the issue up here. Fortunately, we face different challenges nowadays. Yeah.
That's a very good point. It's a very good point, and it's an issue in our schools. I see the reports. It is an issue in our schools.
We have another question right here.
How you guys doing? Mike Campbell, Team Smooth Entertainment. I wanted to ask you guys, in recent events with Meek Mill and his probation situation, what do you guys feel about the justice system when it comes to how they treat felons and how they treat people that look like us when it comes to sitting in front of a judge?
Good question.
To answer that question, I recently watched the video where it was I don't know her name and I feel bad. It's a female judge. She's a black woman, female judge, African American woman. Yeah, giving her a really hard time. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's automatic. Like, you're automatically profiled, regardless of what you do or whatever. And in his situation, like we were referring to earlier, I'm sorry, he has a record. He's been on, that's one of my personal friends, he's been on probation for almost 10 years. I'm 30, he's 30. He's been on probation since he was 18 years old. Like when I was at the radio station in Philly, he couldn't even come, we couldn't even meet each other because he was on house arrest then. So his situation is really unfortunate because he has a family. Like my dad was saying earlier, his mother, his sisters, his loved ones, his son. To me, that's the biggest impact. When you have kids that you leave behind, that's the worst thing ever. You gotta go do time, your kids are out here, like, you know what I'm saying? So I just really feel like it's just a bad decision overall, and we know what that's about. Like he was just profiled and judged based on his record and what he's got going on. Like, he just got the worst, like the worst deal, I think. I shouldn't have went that way.
You know, the thing is, like I was telling y'all, probation is not a win. Like most of us think probation is a win. You gotta walk a straight line for that time. Like he had 10 years that he had to walk a straight line. So he can't even get into an argument. He can't hop the train. Somebody even just say, yo, he just hit me. He's going to jail. So we gotta stop setting ourselves up for that. We know what that's about. You know what I mean? So just avoid it the best you can. That's all I say. Avoid that, man. That's the best thing to do. I feel sorry. Free me.
Thank you, thank you. We have a question right here, brother. You wanted to say something?
Yeah.
And after you're done, we're gonna have Coach C.
Just want to tell young people that court system, please stay out of it. I work with an organization called Bronx KENNETH. It's an ATI, Alternative to Incarceration. So I know firsthand how these situations work out. I see young people that just was with people didn't even do anything with them after. Like, it could have been a crime committed an hour later. When they picked them up, they were together, and they get caught up in the system. And when you get caught up in that system, you know, a lot of times a lot of abuse of power, which like in Meek Mill's situation, that's abuse of power. You know, I mean, some of the things that came out that his attorney was talking about with the judge asking to redo a song and shout me out, like, that's unheard of. But when you put yourself in these situations by being in that court system, you know, it's very hard to be dealt with fairly. And we already know people of color, we already got, you know, them looking at us a certain way. I started my own organization, The Power of Purpose, which is a mentoring for at-risk, high-risk, as well as court-involved youth. So I'm in the courts all the time, and I see this all the time. So please, whatever you do, make better decisions. Don't get caught up in the system.
Yes, my name is Charles Cowan. I'm here, I'm a retired teacher, basketball coach here at Mount Vernon, and I'm here with Grace Baptist Church. I'm a mentor. And one of the strongest things I say to my mentees, you're a product of your choices. If you choose to do the wrong thing, you're gonna make a bad product. If you do the right thing, you make a good product. Which product do you wanna be?
Indeed. Yeah.
That was wisdom. We have another question right
I've been listening to this conversation. My name is St. Clair Davis. And this conversation, quite frankly, makes me sad and depressed. Because what we're talking about here is 80% or 90% of of incarcerated people in this system are black folks. And what we can talk about is, we talk about basketball, we talk about hip hop, we talk about this, but we never talk really about how do we educate our children and how do we make them aware and how do we get to the root causes of what is happening here. Mere avoidance and don't do this and don't do that and choices. The fact is that if you're in an environment where the choices are such that all are bad, you're not going to make any good choices. So the issue is, how do we get at the root cause of all of the problems that we have? How do we get at the root causes of your cousin spending a lot of time in jail or having his life thrown away? How do we do that? And I would suggest to you that what we need to do is to take our children and look at our children and be more active with regard to our children. And one of the ways you can do it with lack of fathers is mentoring. The question is, how do you get these mentors? Not to do 30 minutes or 40 minutes. That's not going to do anything. That's a drive-by.
Well, it looks like 30 minutes or 40 minutes because we up here. But when I leave here, I'm in the Bronx Boys Club on Hoe Avenue. I'm on Rikers Island. I'm in the streets all the time with kids. I don't just, when I leave here, half these kids are going to have my phone number, my personal number. This ain't, hey, I said my speech and I left. And most of the times I do it, including this, it's not about money at all. So unless I'm hands-on 24 hours with a kid, I can't all the way get, the only thing I could do, the best I could do. And what my brother was saying was that he put a seed in somebody's ear when he was a kid, and he always regret that for the rest of his life. So let's not let you put the wrong seed in somebody's ear like he did. It's not about sitting here trying to just say, hey, don't do this, don't do that. There's part of being a mentor, like just one thing that you could say to a child could change some people. Like even if I only touch one kid out of this whole time, for these last few months going to Rikers Island, that's what it's about. It's really not about me saying don't do this, don't do that. Because again, I told my son, don't do this, don't do that. He did it. So the only thing I could do, the best thing I could do, these people are gonna make this, they're gonna do what they're gonna do. The best thing I could do is, here's my phone number, man, think about this. Give you know, some of these kids don't know these statistics. I'm in the streets every day. Did you know this? No, I didn't. So that's all I can do. I can only do as much as I can do, and it's the best I can do. I'm not here to be here for 30 minutes to say don't do this, don't do that. It's the only time I got tonight.
No, I'm sorry, brother. You misconstrued what I was saying.
Okay.
This wasn't directed at you.
No, I know.
It was directed at the program in and of itself, where my brother's keeper says you can spend 30 minutes or so a month or a week or whatever it is with the kids?
I want to respond to
That's
that.
what it was.
I want to respond to that because I think what you're referring to is a systemic issue, and it's not about a program or an initiative. It's about a community who makes a decision to come together. And I think this room, this assembly, is the beginning step of that. And imagine if this was repeated in every school across the country, the impact it would have. That's one. The other thing is that there are conditions that our children face that we as adults perpetuate in our own conduct and behavior. So part of that means that as adults, particularly men who stand and have stature in our community, has to understand and accept their responsibility for setting examples and removing the conditions that our children face. One, we have to educate our children so that they are employable. Because when they have skills that help them to be more employable, it takes them off the street. That's one. Getting our community-based organizations in place so that after school, when that bell rings, because guess what? No matter what we say in school, when the bell rings, they're going home. And they're going home and they're going to face the same dysfunction that causes many of them to be in the streets and commit some of the behaviors. And not all of our kids are bad. And I don't want anybody leaving here thinking, in fact, most of the kids in this room probably are the kids who are going to do well in spite of what we do. But we have to use this vehicle, this venue, as an opportunity to reach those youngsters. There are folks that I mentor. There's a young man right there I've been mentoring since he was 10 years old. And there are choices and decisions that he has made, and although I am not his father, I have acted as though I am. And I think that is what we have to do, whether we have 30 minutes or 30 months or 3 years or 5 years, making a commitment to make a difference and connect with these young boys. And 30 minutes in this kind of arena is just the icing on the cake. It's really about the conditions that our children live in that we have to change, the conditions that we face as a nation. And that is also related to how our Constitution, although written to protect all of its people, does not protect all of its people. And we need to make sure our young men understand that and that they use their voice, their power to vote, their power to exercise their right as in a democratic society, their right to be active citizens in a country that is designed to keep certain people perpetually suppressed and depressed, and giving them that knowledge, because knowledge then becomes the key. And the last thing I will say is education is the one thing that once you have it, no one can take it from you. You can lose your freedom, you can lose your job, you can lose your house. You can't lose your education once you have it. And getting our kids committed to understanding the process of education and how to apply that knowledge, I think, is paramount.
Thank you, Dr. Hamilton, and thank you to all of the adults that have questions. We have some young brothers that want to ask questions too, so we're going to hear from these two students. If you would just state your name and we'll grade you in and ask your question, and then pass the mic after the answer's given.
My name is Hayshawn Horton, and I'm in 9th grade. And my question is, can you see yourself as being something else instead of an actor or a music artist?
Yeah, there's a lot of things. I want to be a mentor. Yeah, no, definitely, I want to do something, to change, I want to do something extremely positive for this right here, something positive like this, like a different angle from the norm. I like this better than acting and anything. Like, I want to see, it pride me to see you young men finish school, come to your college graduation and go on to do, be a success in whatever you plan to do. That I'll take more pride in that than anything that I've done. So to change your life, to, take someone on that's maybe not sure of themselves and assure them that they're doing good. I would love to, be that positive role model in that area. Like I said, people don't look at me as a positive role model. I would love to change that idea around.
And I want to say this before you pass the mic, Brother Muhammad. Guns is serious. When he tells you that he is serious about connecting with kids out somewhere and people stop him on the streets, it'll take us 30 minutes for a 5-minute walk, because he's stopping and he's talking to everybody who's willing to do that. So that's part of why I asked him to be here tonight, quite frankly, is because he's not one of those people who's going to just talk the talk and not walk the walk. So his commitment is one that I know we can all count on. Thank you.
Let me just add to this real quick, brother. A lot of people don't really understand a lot of who Peter is, right? Before the cameras, when I'm talking 25 years ago, at least, I was calling on him to mentor youth. I would call this, I need you to come out, I need you to, rhyme out here, give me a clean version. And he was doing that 25 years ago. This is not new, this is something that he's been doing and we've been doing before we got put in these positions and platforms. This is a passion because we understand how important it is.
So young man, please let them know your name and your age, what school you go to, as well as your question.
My name is Matthew Dyer. I'm in 7th grade at Benjamin Turner Middle School. I don't have a question. This is just more to point out as a youth that we feel that when we have mentors, we just here because our mom signed us up. We here to pass the time. We here that y'all don't care. We are just here because y'all have to be here. It's your job, or this and that and the third, on why you care or don't about how we feel in our take on things.
I think I'm glad you said that because it's powerful. So if I'm understanding you, it's all right. You are kind of enticed almost to be here, and then why? The bigger question is, why are we here? Well, I'll tell you why I'm here. I'm here because I believe I'm here to make a difference. I'm in Mount Vernon to make a difference. I'm in Mount Vernon because I believe that the work that we are doing isn't just about educating our children, it's about changing the community, and when we change the community, we can change a culture. If we change the culture, we can change the world, and I truly, truly believe that. So that's why I am here, and my commitment to continue to do these summits and have these conversations, and the reason I meet with kids on a regular basis is so that I can hear about their experiences, not just from the adults, but so I can hear from kids about what is their school experience, what's happening in your neighborhoods, what can we do collectively as adults who have access to resources that can make a difference. So that's why I'm here.
Why am I here? Great question. I'm here because this is who I am. This is what I do. This is my purpose. I'm here because my brother called me and said he needed me to be here with him. And we support each other like that. I'm here because any opportunity I get to help make a difference, I'm there. And something else you said that is key. And us as adults and mentors, one of the things we have to really pay attention on is listening to the young people. Sometimes we think we got the solutions and all this, and we don't even understand what they're dealing with. I do different groups. I do a group called the Hard Truth and the Real Talk. And I sat and learned to just listen to the young people. And I found that a lot of times we like, oh, these young people are crazy and this and that, but they're not. We just don't understand them. We're speaking different languages. And once we make that connection and build that relationship, we can help each other. So I'm here to help out any way I can.
Thank you. This is going to be our last student question. And then I'm going to ask that we do a group photo. I want to do a photo of the mentors, the adults, the students, and then a group photo. So Dwayne and your crew is going to be at your instruction as well as Rick. Your question?
My name is Dejan Richards. I'm in 10th grade. I go to this school. My question is relating to what you were saying. It's not what we did or what our friends did, and we were with them at that moment. What do you advise us to do to get out of that?
I think one of the keys is making sure that you surround if you're the smartest person in your group, you're in the wrong group. That's number one. Hang around with people who are interested in the things that you are interested in and people who you know are going to help you make the right choices. If you find yourself in a situation and it's a bad situation, always take the out. Whatever that out is, always take the out. And it's all right in your youth to make a mistake. That's part of what growing up is. But never let your mistakes be so risky that it causes you your life. And one of the things I always say to people is, whenever I have young people as an audience, I encourage people to live a full life and enjoy your youth, because once it's past, you don't get to get it back, but know when to leave the party.
I wanted to touch on this question the young man had. That was a good one, because in the neighborhood I grew up in, they would bring the Army, the Navy, the Air Force, all these recruiters through the neighborhood, and my mother would send me to listen to them talk, and same thing. And my whole block burned down except my building. Bronx was burned out. We used to have to get water out the fire hydrant. The boy was bathing. It was that bad. But you had these people come through, and that's how they get you. You sign up for the Army, you don't have to be here. In the Navy, you don't have to be here no more. And they leave, and that's the end of it. And that's why I understood what the brother back there was saying. How do you help a kid with just 30 minutes? So I understand that. I give y'all my number. Holler at me. I'm not here today, you know, he's on TV, he just came there to just holler at me, man. Just don't ask me, don't try to take none of my little girl secrets calling me for girl advice. Call me for something real, you know what I mean? But nah, real, you know, holler at me, man. Like, if you ever feel you in a situation, get at me. You know, that's what it's about. That's what it's about. That's what I'm here for. Don't ever think that I'm just saying. I walk up on youth all the time. There was a time I would go to Rikers Island with people. Like, I have friends call me, come to Rikers Island and speak to the kids, and I was like, oh, that's dope, you do that? And I would see that it was a check involved for them. At the end of the day, they had to get each kid to sign something that they came, and I'll be walking out, and he's still in there getting these signatures. I'm like, what's that? And you know, oh yeah, they got signed, let's get this. You know, so I didn't realize that part of the game. So I get it. So the kids in there started thinking that, oh, they just came up here to get my signature because they probably gonna get some money from the state or something. It's not what it's about for me. I walk down the street, like Ken said, all day. You want to question, you want to talk to me about the show, you got to hear about these guns brothers that they got set up for us. It's not about a dime for me. It's not about that. I don't want to see y'all go. I'm tired of turning on the news or hearing about a young man, you know, not just in my family, I consider you my little brother as well. So again, you want my number, holler at me, man. You know I'm here. You hear me? That's it.
I just would add to that, know the company you keep and be authentic you. Be consistent with who you are. Don't be afraid to walk away, you know, when you know something is not right. You know, a lot of times we just tag along and then we have to deal with those same consequences. So I said, know the company you keep and be mindful of that. You know, if you know you're around people that, you know, do a lot of negative things, you know that you can bear those consequences. So just be aware of who you're with.
And on that note, we're going to bring our program to closure. Please join me in giving a round of applause to our panel tonight. Thank you very much for answering the call. Brother Muhammad, our host, always awesome. And to Donna, my executive assistant, always the ever-present Donna Jackson. And I have to give a shout out to the servers, the caterers. Thank you so much for coming through. 2 fish and 5 loaves, awesome. Answered my call at the very last minute to come in and serve for us tonight because I wanted some soul food. I wanted something that we could really get down with and make it feel as much like home as possible. So thank you for answering the call. So with that said, and to our young men, thank you so much for being here and being so well represented of our district and our community.
Don't our young men look sharp? Let's give our young men a round of applause. They look very handsome and very sharp. All right, second picture. Your serious face, no smiling, your serious face. Here we go.
Come on, Malcolm.
And now the third one represents what we feel in our heart, your joy. So let's smile for this one. Now one more. We all gonna put up the #1 sign. When I count to 3, say Mount Vernon's #1. 1, 2,
3. I'm burning number 1.